Hi there, everybody. This is Dr. Swanson coming to you with the Topic 2 video for Public Relations Writing 1. This is probably the busiest area of the course. We have so much going on here and a whole lot of assignments happening, and I want to walk you through it so that you understand clearly what the expectations are. First of all, let me share this screen with you. This is what we got going on in this topic area: the news release, the backgrounder, the AP style quizzes, the social media posts. That's a team assignment. Don't forget also there's a quiz and then there's a team member evaluation. So this is a really busy time for you guys, and it's a very important time because of everything that we're doing and how critical it is to the learning of public relations writing. So let me share the course page with you from Canvas. Here we are. This looks a little different from yours, but it's the same stuff that you see. You're just looking at the instructor view here. So I'm gonna get back to this in a minute. There's the news release, the backgrounder, the style quizzes, the concept quiz, the social media post for your team, and the team member evaluation. So let me talk you through a couple of these things. Oh, before I begin, let me go back up here. I've added something at the top. Dr. Swanson's website. This is up here under the Get Acquainted documents. There's something there I think you want to look at. So, but we'll get back to that in a minute. So I'm going to just park the screen right here and talk to you about a few things. Topic 1 set you up with the important frame of mind and the concept skills needed to work as a PR writer. Now in topic 2, we're going to practice those concepts and skills in earnest. So you're going to really need to rely on the step-by-step writing process structure that you worked with in topic area 1. Don't forget that. Come back to that. That's important for you for the remainder of the class. The news release and the backgrounder are used in topic 2 because that's these two right here, because they are so important to what we do in public relations. Those are key documents. The news release requires you to tell a very persuasive and a complete story with only 1 page of copy. I only want 1 page of copy for the news release. Now, we're going to be doing this as a drafting assignment, and I'll talk more about that in a minute or two. But you need to be in the frame of mind of a journalist when you're writing a news release, and you've only got a single page of copy to tell a really good story and bring about coverage. Make sure you understand what a news release does. A news release does not go to the public. The news release goes to media gatekeepers, and it goes to them to persuade them that this is an important story that they need to cover as news. Now, keep in mind, these media gatekeepers are often busy people. They're cynical. They're not easy to persuade. They get a ton of news releases every day. So you've got to structure this news release in a way that really captures their attention. And I'm going to show you something here in a few minutes when we get deeper into that. The backgrounder involves similar concepts, but you're telling a story with more detail, and you're telling it in a way that really captures the news value of that story. The backgrounder is something that is very personal for the journalist that you're sending it to. Throughout this kind of work, the news release and the backgrounder, what we're doing is we're, again, balancing the art and craft of public relations. The art of public relations, as we talked about in topic area 1, the art of PR is the storytelling. It's the right words in the right order to tell an informative, persuasive story. The craft part is how that is structured on the page so that it looks good, it fits together well, it appeals to that particular audience, and they're not going to have to do a lot of revising or rewriting of it. So the art and the craft have to blend. The journalist or the news media gatekeeper that you send this to, you have to send them a good story, and you have to send one that doesn't look funky and weird, because no matter what the story is, if it looks funky and weird, the gatekeeper is not going to accept it. Structurally speaking, or rather statistically speaking, about 80% of the news releases sent to the media don't get used. And you want to work very hard to make sure that yours gets used. In my personal experience, most releases don't get used because they just don't tell a good story, or they just look funky and weird. And if it looks funky and weird, it's going to take a lot of time for rewrite. The journalist is not going to want to do that. They're going to just toss it out. So, and keep in mind too, the journalist today is really busy. Back in the 80s, when I was working as a journalist, I would get the whole week to work on a single story if it was a really good story. That doesn't happen anymore. Journalists and media gatekeepers today are working on dozens of stories all at the same time for different platforms. It's a very different kind of business. It's a very busy business. And so that's why we have to really get inside the head of the recipient to do well on this. The news release is going to be a drafting exercise. So what you're going to submit right now this week is the first draft, and I'll get you some feedback on it. The instructions explain this completely, but I just want you to understand you're turning in a draft, then I'm going to review it and give it back to you with a grade and comments, and then you're going to submit the final copy of the news release down here in topic 4. So that's because I want you to take time to think about the revision of the draft as you do it. Now, keep in mind, if you were writing a news release in the real world, you'd have to turn it around in a matter of minutes or hours. You wouldn't have weeks. But this is a learning process here, and I really want you to learn that. So it's essential that you take my comments into consideration as you revise that draft into your final copy, and we'll talk more about that. I've actually had students get all the way to the end of the class in COMM 362 and admit that they never looked at my feedback on their papers. And usually they tell me that after they ask for a better grade and want to know why they didn't do so well in the class. And I say, did you ever read the feedback? And then they go, the feedback? Yeah, the written feedback that I sent you. Did you ever look at it? Sometimes people don't. And, if you don't, you do that at your own peril. This is one of the few classes, and perhaps maybe the only class you ever take where the instructor will urge you to read the work being done by other students, not to copy it, but just to look at it and see how other people are tackling this assignment and see what you can do to tackle the assignment. Each one of you can create a unique and interesting news release or any other document in this class without copying each other. So please interact with the members of your team and others in the class and see what they're doing and learn from that. It'll really help you. So I want to point out some of the other things that I've got here in Canvas that I think are really important to you. Again, let me go back up here to the top and this new item I've just posted, Dr. Swanson's website with a variety of classroom resources. If you were to click on that, it would get you to this. I've got all kinds of stuff in here, alphabetical order. Use these materials. I put them there for you guys. I think they're really good. Now, there is one down here, news release audit and example. And this is what it looks like. News release audit and example. Read this as you think about putting that news release together because it'll help you think as a journalist thinks. Here's an example of a news release down here. I wrote this in 2003 when I worked for the Steamboat Company in Wisconsin. 2003. Geez, some of you guys probably weren't even born then. Makes me feel old. But this is a really good news release. It's really good. I like it. And you know why I like it? Because the general manager, I was writing it for her, and it had to be in her voice, and she wanted to be the one meeting with the media. And so I really put my blood, sweat, and tears into this news release to make it just right. And I think we did a really good job. So, you can click on this and look at it, but this is in one page. It tells a very persuasive, simple story. And dang, we had a lot of response from this news release. We had the TV crews come out. We had actors out there in top hats and their hoop skirts and to meet the boat when it came in. The TV crews came out. We were on the front page of every newspaper in this region when we brought back steamboat passenger service to Lansing, Iowa. It was an amazing experience. This was a very, very successful news release because we told a good story and we had good visuals to back it up. So here's an audit that you might want to think about. After you've written your news release, ask yourself these 10 questions. If you can answer yes to all of them, your news release is probably doing a pretty good job. So that's something I want you to think about. And again, you will find that on my classroom resources page, and the classroom resources page is right here. It's linked in the welcome and get acquainted documents. All right, let's come back over here, and I'm going to show you this stuff in the outcomes and study guide. Click, click, click. Okay, here we go. This is where the video introduction is going to appear. Here's the stuff that I want you to pay attention to in this topic area. Learning outcomes and study guide here, supplemental materials and readings here. Remember, now these are concept things that relate generally to the work you're doing this week. The internet never forgets. This link will take you to a picture that UC Davis has spent more than $300,000 trying to scrub off the internet. They can't get it to go away. And that's because the internet never forgets. So that's why as writers today, we have to remember anything you create, whether it's in social media for yourself or for somebody else or whatever, the internet never forgets. Remember that. Faked photos are very common on the internet. That's because people believe what they see more than what they are told. Photo manipulation is an issue for us in this class. It'll come up again as an issue for you later in future classes, but look at the items here about photo manipulation because, you know, that's a big ethical concern for those of us in public relations. And as PR writers, we don't want to feed into that unethical conduct. PR people have to remember to be conscious of the company they keep. You know, we are in very politically charged environments. And well, as we're seeing right now, you know, this is an example of a guy who had a business in New England. And he basically killed his own brand. The MyPillow guy right now, with all due respect to whatever political philosophy you hold, the MyPillow guy is killing his business right now because he's posted all these videos and come out with all these irrational political statements. He's been banned from Twitter. If you don't know what the MyPillow guy is doing, Google search and look him up. He is totally killing his business. Another issue here, the internet never forgets people. No matter what you do, the internet never forgets. All these people who went to the Capitol on January the 6th and rioted, they ended up, being arrested. A lot of them are losing their jobs. And it's like, how did this happen to me? Well, this is how it happened to you. You posted on social media a picture of yourself walking through Congress with a Confederate flag. That's how these things happen. The latest incident was with a couple from Georgia, a husband and wife. They took their 18-year-old Boy Scout son to the Capitol to participate in this. He brought with him a baton, and he got arrested. And he's on felony charges now. He's up on felony charges. And dad is like, we're so sorry. How did that happen? It happened because you did stuff like this. That's how it happened. So regardless of your political philosophy, folks, Swanson's bottom line here this week, the internet never forgets. So since you're working in a team to create social media posts this week, remember that what we create has to be positive, encouraging, and supportive of the client. We're not going to create anything that casts a client in a negative eye or a negative light because the internet never forgets. Last but not least in this area, remember as you go into this field doing social media for yourself or others, remember what Swanson told you in this class. The internet never forgets. Ask Justine Sacco. She was on a plane headed to Africa. She was over the ocean when she made this post. Hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding. I'm white. Ha ha ha. Justine, that was not funny. That was not funny. That was racist crap. And it doesn't belong in the mouth of a PR person. And it certainly doesn't belong on your Twitter site. She got fired. She got fired while she was still in the air. And in fact, if you search on the internet, you can find pictures that people took of her walking through the airport, looking at her phone with that, oh my God, I just got fired look. Yeah, you got fired. So we have to be really, really, really careful as PR people. If you want to think stupid things like that, keep it in your head. Don't tell other people about it because you don't want to go the way of Justine. So back to my notes here. These are all important concept issues for you to keep in mind this week. But most of all, what I want you to remember is this week is this topic area is like the big time in terms of what we're doing in public relations writing in this course. So let's go to the syllabus over here. This is when all the important stuff, or a lot of the important stuff, is happening. Topic 2, strategic writing and public relations, weeks 4, 5, 6. Don't forget those discussion questions, please. I need your responses to demonstrate attendance. They don't count for points. They count for attendance. So please get in there and make sure that you have responded to those. I've got a couple of them up there now. All 3 of them are not up there yet for this time period, but a couple of them are. Here's your assignments: news release draft, AP style quizzes. Sometimes people have asked me, are those open book, open note? Yeah, they're online. They are. Don't forget those. Backgrounder, quiz 2, team-based assignments and point values right there. Here's when this is all happening here. So make sure that you're on top of this area here in the syllabus, so you know what's going on and all that sort of thing. Let's go back up to the top. Let's go back down to modules. So let's see if there's anything else I need to show you here. Yeah, that's all of it right there. So what I want you to do is, if you've got questions about what's going on here, and bounce those questions off your team. And if you guys are still confused, let me know. I'm always happy to answer questions. Always. You can always, here's the discussion questions area up here. You can always put your questions in here, and I'm happy to answer them there. Again, this looks a little different from yours because it's my view, but I want you to be successful in this class. I want you to enjoy this class. I want you to see that you're really getting something out of this class. I want you to work with a team to do the work that you need to do with your team that is so important. That's why there's so much detail of the assignment instructions. I want you to understand what the expectations are. And if at any time you don't ask, please let me know. I want to be able to help you. One last thing I'll show you again over here: classroom resources and advising help. This is my webpage, djswansonapr.net. There's a lot of stuff in here. Now, I haven't updated this for a couple of years, but it's all pretty much evergreen, timeless kind of copy. So feel free to go in there and look around, and maybe you'll find some stuff that might help you in other classes, because, I'm not making any money off this stuff. I published a textbook, and I'm not making any money off of it. You'll probably read that textbook. If you're taking 464, you'll read that textbook. Mostly I want to help you guys, and I want to do whatever I can to make that happen. So that's the end of this video. That's the amount of time I wanted to spend on this today. And yeah, how can I help? Let me know. I look forward to continuing to communicate with you as the class goes on. All right, check you later. Bye.